February is National Embroidery Month, and I wanted to show you how my Scan and Cut can help me create something truly custom and hand embroidered. So to start with, we're going to use the draw tool. So just about any pen or pencil that you'd like will fit in there, and you just want to make sure it's at the right level, which you can do by putting in there. And then I've got some felt that has a stabilizer, an iron-on stabilizer backing, and that's to help with all the embroidery that's about to happen. So we're going to place this onto our mat. Now we're not going to be cutting anything. We're just going to be using that draw function. And once I have this on my mat, we're ready to get our machine out, and we're ready to use that pen that I've got there instead of a blade to draw the design that we would like. Now, I will be working with a built-in pattern. However, you can use any pattern that you like as long as it's going to give you a good embroidery base. And there's no rules. You could use something with a lot of lines, something with just very few lines that you freehand in there. It's really a lot of fun. And what I love about it is, in this example, I have a beautiful little pansy flower. That's a built-in design, and I've sized it to approximately what I think I want, about 4.5 inches high. And then once my mat is loaded here, I can change the size if I need to, but first I'm just going to set it, and then I'm going to push the little blue button there that indicates that we would like to scan the mat. What this will do is allow me to see my material, see where my pattern is on the material, and in this case it's very important because I want to make sure it's nice and centered. And if we need to do any adjustments, editing, or movements of anything, we can from there. So once this is scanned in, you see how quick that is. I can see that I need to move this just a little bit up to just really kind of center it there. And once we are happy with the look of it, what we're going to do is go in and select draw so that the machine knows we're drawing, we're not cutting, and start. Now, for any reason you get any pale spots, which I did not have any issue, but if your pen is not working, you can always pause it and adjust your pen or restart. In my case, it came out perfectly the first time. You can see all that pen work on there, and we're not going to worry about the pen work because the way that I intend to stitch is really going to cover everything up. I intend to go to the outside of the lines, which will cover them right up. So I'm starting with a satin stitch, and I'm starting one color at a time. So my first color is my darkest color, and I'm going all the way around the outside. Now, spoiler alert, this project does take a while. If you're having any issues with your material not being stiff enough, you could hoop this in an embroidery hoop. However, I found that with the iron-on stabilizer plus it being felt, it really wasn't necessary to have a hoop. And I really like that because it really made this a great project for me to take on the go while I'm waiting for the kids at school or sports or whatever. So after you've finished one color, you're just going to move to the next. So I did the outside of the flower first. Then I moved to the very center and worked inside out. I found that this worked really well. What you really want to be thinking about is which stitches do you want to have happen last, or which colors do you want to kind of lay on top. So you just pull nice and firmly, and this is just a lot of patience. You can see I did a combination here of long stitches and short stitches, and to minimize the thread wasted on the back, what I would do is if I pulled one direction, then when I went to go the next stitch, I would go the opposite direction so that it's not very much thread going on the back. Now, just a quick tip, if your thread twists up, just let it dangle underneath so that it unwinds. Sometimes it can get kind of wound up as you're going back and forth embroidering. And moving on to the green, I decided to use those patterns as more of points. In other words, points where I wanted to make the darkest color, then the next color, and then the lightest color go versus following within. So always remember, you can see how that's looking. I love this. Just love how this turned out. You can always use whatever you've drawn with the Scan and Cut there. You can always use it as more of a general pattern. You can always change something up on the go if you're feeling comfortable with it. And as you can see, the thread is covering absolutely everything, so you don't have to worry that something's going to show or look funny. Your thread is covering. And worst comes to worst, you can always trim your thread or trim a piece off and start over. Here you can see the finished product. Guys, I just love how this turned out. Now I'm going to be making a wall hanging. So to do that, I've just got some fabric, and I'm also going to get a large piece of felt to back that fabric. But first and foremost, I'm going to stitch my felt down onto my fabric, just using a regular stitch. And then at the very, very bottom, I'm doing a decorative heart stitch. So to do this, you just just hold nice and steady and even, and it goes around. I love that this machine does this and stitches little hearts all across the bottom. So cute. Now you can see I've got a piece of felt folded over the top. Folded over the top because I want to put a wooden dowel across the top to hold it up. So I'm just keeping that in mind with how much of felt I have folded over, and that I will make that be the top. Otherwise, my fabric is just folded over. You can see all of the clips are in place. We'll just remove them as we go along. And the very first thing I'm going to do is to go around and just stitch all of my fabric all the way around. And then I'll put a decorative stitch across the top, this time a leaf. It'll be really cute. So here we are going around with a nice straight stitch. Notice how I'm not going super fast, guys. I would much rather do this once and just go at kind of a medium speed versus too fast. And there is that leaf stitch that I'm using as the decorative top stitch to seal this off. And look, oh my gosh, I just love how this project turned out so much. I cannot tell you how much I love it. So what I'm doing now, I decided to top it with art fibers. You don't have to do this. I just find ribbon or fibers or something at the top is just so lovely and so pretty. So I'm putting these like so, and just tying a knot on either end, and that will be that. If you're concerned about it sticking, you could get out some embroidery thread and stitch it together if you want, or anything else that you would like to add, you certainly could. If you wanted to add heat transfer vinyl, if you wanted to add more patterns. I just love how my sewing machine and my ScanNCut came together to give me this beautiful project. And I hope you've enjoyed checking it out too. It really is beginner friendly. So if you haven't tried embroidery, I cannot suggest enough that you pull out your ScanNCut, draw something, and give it a go. If you do, be sure to share. I would love to see it. Until next time, I wish you very happy crafting.